I encourage everybody to support KMTV as a very positive force for good, and would like to see you do more in this country. I fully endorse the work you're doing because it's constructive, it's positive, it's professional and responsible.
This joint press conference here at the headquarters of the Liberty Party, and as you see the caption on the various screens, Liberty Party is the place, and the four collaborating political parties, ALP, ANC, Liberty Party, and Unity Party, will be shortly addressing a joint news conference here at the headquarters of Liberty Party. You see Ms. Telia Urey. You also see Mr. Urey trying to take his seat. Alternative National Congress political leader Alexander B. Cummings is here, and other party officials who will join us come to cover as they've done in the past. This occasion, journalists are here and some party towels are also here. So it's KMTV Live. My name is Emmanuel. We understand that the four parties will be speaking to violence, the issue of violence that took place in District 15, coupled with other issues. And so we like to officially say welcome on a Sunday, 18 August 2019. So we're getting signal that any moment from now, this news conference will start. The chairman of Liberty Party, Senator Steve Zako, is expected to shortly arrive here. Benona Urey, he is the chairman currently of this joint collaboration, and also the political leader of all Liberian Party, flanked by his daughter, Ms. Telia Urey, and Alternative National Congress political leader, Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings. So we're not sure what are some of the other issues that will be discussed, but we do know that the issue relative to violence in District 15 will be high on the agenda. And someone may say the media is always available to provide professional coverage. And so KMTV, we're everywhere. Many thanks for joining us from across the world, wherever you are watching us. It's good to feel at home, most especially when you're far from home. And then you have the internet, making sure that you get news back home. That is commendable. So welcome. As I stated, we at the headquarters of Liberty Party where the joint collaboration in opposition political affairs will be addressing a news conference here. So, thanks for joining us. We are expecting the arrival of Senator Steve Zago. Senator Zago is the chairman of the Liberty Party.
Urey, as you may be aware, yesterday there was a clash, so they don't give us the story. That today, the ruling party.
I want to say again, thank you.
Condemning the situation, so we have to get what the overlapping political parties have to say. Today we saw a press release from the party condemning it and calling for an investigation. So we are here to get us off.
Hi, I'm Shalom Jawari. For the best in entertainment, I want you to lock down to KMTV. Yes, lock down to KMTV.
Oh, okay. Bring chairs, two chairs. Two chairs, yeah. Y'all please let him bring the flag on there, y'all. Y'all can take the flag to one, please. Please bring the chairs.
The arrival of Liberty Party, Steve Zago, Senator of Lofa County.
Okay,
So let's join plan.
our distinguished political leaders of the collaborating political parties, our candidate in the by-elections, ladies and gentlemen of the press, supporters, partisans, Liberians in Radio Land, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. About a week ago, we invited you here to provide updates on the violence that was meted out against peaceful supporters of the collaborating political parties at this very headquarters. And we assured you that as events unfold to the partial rerun of the election in District 15, we will always invite you here to provide updates. you can recall, or you may have heard, that yesterday in District 15, our candidate, Ms. Telia Urey, came under attack before the watchful eyes of officers of the Liberian National Police. Prior to that, there were threats and acts of violence that were also carried out against our supporters. And the political leader of the All Liberian Party, Honorable Bernard Urey. It is against that backdrop that we've invited you here today to address those issues and provide the official position of the collaborating political parties on those issues. There will be two statements that will be provided here today. The first will be from our candidate in the District 15 by-elections. And thereafter, the chairman of the Labour Party, Senator Steve Amadou Zago, will read the statement of the collaborating political parties. Without much ado, we invite to the podium Ms. Telia Urey to give us update on the events that were unfolded in District 15 yesterday.
Thank you, Claude. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, fellow Liberians, to our distinguished political leaders of the collaborating parties, and our chairman. On March 25th, 2019, we, the people of District 15, lost a great man, Honorable Adolph Lawrence, representative of District 15. Due to his death, we had a by-election in the district, which I took part in. I decided to take part in this election because I knew the void that his death brought to Liberian politics in general and to the people of the district. And to the people of the district. Our campaign started in May. We ran on the ticket of the collaborating parties. We stuck to a simple, people-centered campaign, door to door, not much engagement in the press, with the press, and just talking to our people and convincing them that we want to lead because we want to tackle some of the issues that we see our district faced with. Not once in our campaign did we ever mention our opponent's name. Did we ever mention the name of the President of the Republic of Liberia in any negative sense? We stuck to our message. We stuck to what we wanted to do for District 15 and for the Liberian people. Youth empowerment, creation of jobs, bettering our health and educational sectors, and so forth. Women empowerment. On June 22nd, at the launch of the CDC's campaign at their headquarters in Congo Town, the President of the Republic of Liberia got on the podium and spewed words of hate division, political rhetorics that we should only see the president spew out during maybe campaign periods. He said that unless he is not president of the Republic of Liberia, would a Urey ever win elections. He said that I particularly am a loser, and that I come from a background that should never be allowed to hold a position in Liberia. Before his statement, we never experienced violence in District 15. We all campaigned in our separate areas in harmony. After his statement, we started to experience violence in the election. The first incident happened at our headquarters in Logantown, where supporters of our opponent Abu Kamara, this was the first incident, came to our headquarters, started exchanging verbal abuses with our supporters, and it ended up in a physical altercation where rocks were thrown. Nothing major, just I think maybe 2 minor injuries. After that, we had another incident at our headquarters. It was a day that both Abu Kamara and I were closing our campaigns. The day before the closing, our leaders met at the magistrate's office in Brewerville, where we laid out routes that both parties would be taking to avoid any collusion. To our utmost surprise, that afternoon of the launch, Mr. Kamara's supporters took our route. They blocked the route that we were supposed to be taking. The police blocked the route that we were supposed to be taking, and his supporters took the route that we're supposed to take. Before that, they came to our headquarters and began their attacks. I'm sure many of you in the press saw videos, saw photos of what happened that day. Our people were locked up in our headquarters for over 7 hours. When rocks were being thrown, people were being brutalized in the streets. They were carrying caskets with my pictures on it, saying that day they were carrying my casket because that day would be my death, my political death. Over 20 people were injured that day. We reported it to the police. We called the police director. We called different people within the police, even the justice minister that day, to help save us, help rescue us, and nobody came to save us. That evening, I believe it was around 7 o'clock, we finally got help from the police station. I think it's important to also note that our headquarters is right across the street from the Logantown depot. The police stood there, as many of you saw in videos, watching as our headquarters was destroyed. Our people were hurt, and they did not come to help. Eventually that evening, the police came in and removed people one by one, until everybody was able to leave the inside of the building to go home. The building was left in complete and total ruin. If you go to the headquarters today, you will see that when it rains, water just falls into the headquarters because the zinc was totally destroyed. The second attack happened at this particular headquarters, where our supporters came to celebrate our victories. To our utmost surprise, the police came here and they started to attack us, and seditions came here and they started to attack us. That also led to injuries. Just last week, while we were at NEC, waiting to get the results of our case, the ruling on our case, our supporters gathered outside to show solidarity with us. Women gathered in their numbers, standing on the side of the road, holding placards peacefully. The same thing happened. Rocks were thrown. Women were injured. As we speak, women are still in the hospital due to skull fractures. That went by. Yesterday, again, I went to Mr. Kelvin Bayo's office to meet with his campaign team. His office is right on Logantown Broad Street. While in the meeting, we started to hear a lot of screaming outside, commotion. Telia, Urey, get outside. Logantown is not for you. We don't want to see you in Logantown. But you know, before I get there, let me not move too fast. Yesterday morning, I went to the wedding of one of my friends and supporters, a member of our media team. After I left his wedding, I took a walk to meet a bishop, the Bishop of Kingdom Embassy. While I was in the meeting with the bishop, some officials from NEC walked in and said, I'm not allowed to be in this church because this church is one of the quarantine areas. And I said to her, the results that are quarantined are at NEC. I came into this church to speak to the bishop of this church. After we left, while walking back to the car and just speaking to the people of the community, a group of seditionists came with a megaphone behind me. Tell Urey, you are not welcome here. Logantown is not for you. Do not come back in this community. With a megaphone walking behind us as we left the church. My securities tried to run me into the car, and I told them I will not run because I will not be intimidated, and nobody owns Logantown or owns Liberia that they feel that they have the right to come and kick us out of the community or violently push us out. I maintain my posture. I continue to speak to everybody that I had to speak to before getting into the car. Right before I could get into the car, rocks started being thrown from left to right. That's when they are called more people to come and attack us. I was hit by one of those rocks. And I got into my car and I left. I went back home because I had mud all over me from what had happened. And I left Caldwell and I came back to that meeting at Mr. Bayo's headquarters in Logantown. As I said, while we're in the meeting, people started to scream the same thing. We don't want to see you yet. You come back in that place, there will be problem. Logantown is not for you. Mind you, I've won more centers in Logantown than my opponent. So I don't know exactly which Logantown they're referring to, but it's not the Logantown of District 15. It didn't stop there. While sitting in the office, we just hear the glasses burst. A rock. They threw a rock into the office that we're sitting in. At that point, all of us ran out. When we got out of that office and got into the living room, everybody jumped in and said, do not come outside of the building because they're throwing rocks and different objects straight through the garage where our vehicle was parked. They took me into another room right next to the office, which didn't have a window. And we're sitting down there as the rocks were falling in, tumbling in, coming in. We're just sitting down in fear. I called my father, my mother, Senator Dillon, Senator Yomlin Kaga Lawrence, and everybody else. And Mr. T. Max also called because his brother was also in the meeting. I called Henry Costa also, and I asked them to please send help for us now, because there's no way for us to get out of this place. They said that they called the police, and they called I guess the police director and other security personnel to come and try to reach us. I asked the radio stations too to please, because obviously after what we have encountered with the police over the past 2 months, I am not confident. I wasn't confident, or I didn't feel secure sitting there waiting for the police to come and save me. Radio stations, D15 and both Smart FM, started to make calls onto supporters to come and try to see if they could rescue us. At this point, the rocks are still coming in. Police did arrive about 20 minutes into the incident. They stood on the road watching as all of this was going on. We stayed in that building for an hour and a half. Police arrived there 20 minutes. We stayed in there for an hour and a half. While we were in the building, people were just getting injured. People are getting injured. Our people are getting injured. People trying to go out, come in. I was on live at a point, you'll see all of the people coming in. Some of the people that are injured are right here. Mr. Sambla is one of them. But there was nothing we could do to overpower the people that were outside. They finally tried to get me out, to get into my car. By the time I could get out to my car, the car had already left, because they had burst the back of the car and somebody had jumped into the car to attack the driver. This I didn't find out until after the event. While we're standing in the living room waiting for an opportunity for us to be able to run out and exit, a guy came running in with a knife. And before he could get to me with the knife, our people grabbed him to save my life. When I knew, or when I believed that we would not make it out of that office, is when they started to pour gas all around the building. We could smell the gas inside, and they said that they were going to burn the building down. We can only thank God that we're here today, because that was a direct assassination attempt on not only my life, but the life of all of those peaceful people that were in that office yesterday. A man called Mr. Johnson walked in. This is after probably an hour had passed of us just sitting there helplessly waiting. And he came in and he said that he's going to go out and try to get help. He went out house to house until he found somebody that was kind enough to offer to bring in his car to get us out of there. At this point, I had already been injured. I felt it hurt my leg. They rushed us into that car. And this is a man that I've never met before in my whole life. They rushed us into the car. About 10 of us got into the car, and they all shielded me, and that's how we're able to escape that office that day. The police were right there. They were standing right outside for over an hour watching us get attacked. 105 specifically was begged by at least 4 members of our team to please bring his car, not his car, the government of Liberia's car, to come in to the garage so that we could get in the car and he could get us out there so that we don't die. He refused. He refused. He refused at a time where they blocked all of the roads. At a time where they had burnt my car, attacked my car, burst the windows, hurt my driver. He had to flee from in the car. I'm sure many of you saw the video of it. So it was a trap. If nobody from within the area that they blocked had come with a car to save us, we would not be here today. This is the government of Liberia. The police that's supposed to be protecting all of Liberians. The total amount of injuries that people from our camp have sustained, over 45 people have gotten hurt. These are people that we can trace. These are people that we have had to treat. That's not a small number. The question now is, are we protected? And if we're protected, who are we protected by? When the president sits at a podium and tells people to flog that little girl with no limits, and his followers and his sympathizers do just that, I may not have the biggest injuries, but when you hurt a supporter of ours, you're hurting me. So when you say flog that little girl, you put not only me in harm's way, but other Liberians that have done nothing to deserve the suffering and the pain and the brutality that we've been faced with. We are not safe in District 15. Women, and I always say that women have been the backbone of our movement. Our women leaders are being terrorized and harassed. Just last night, we had to take 4 women out of their homes into hiding. They were chased with their children because they support us. When NEC came out with the ruling, before I even go there, on election day, we experienced the same thing. And I want to highlight these issues about 105 because every single violent attack that we have experienced, he has been involved. On election day, in the same quarantine areas that we complained about problems being, he arrested our people. The police in that area molested our people. This same 105 was present that day. If you watch that video on the day that we had our campaign closing, he was there watching as our people were injured. He stood there. In fact, yesterday when they asked the police why you're not doing anything, they said they can't do anything without instruction. They're waiting for instruction. What instruction do you need to do your job? What instruction do you need to protect people who are harmless and are being attacked by a few people? I'm going to say this, and I'll say it very clearly. These attacks came directly from CDC. These attacks are the result of CDC's rhetorics, their statements, their hates, their division. When NEC came out with that ruling that we should have a rerun in District 15 in these 6 quarantine areas, I told our team members that we will be in a mess. Because what their strategy will be to just use violence as a means to intimidate our supporters, intimidate us and stop us from being free, violating our rights as Liberians to move around in the district. In one day, it was shown. They have planted cells in these communities and in these areas to ensure that nobody from Telia Urey can. Since they say we're peaceful people, we're not militants, we're not thugs, we're not hooligans, they'll make it impossible for us to move around because they control violence in this country. They are the ones that can break laws and be protected by the same law enforcement officers that should be enforcing our laws. Tomorrow morning, the CPP will be filing complaints at NEC about electoral violence. It's very disappointing to say that we have not seen any firm statements against the violent acts against us from NEC. But tomorrow we're going there with documented evidence of all of the attacks that our people have had to endure. We will not stop until we get justice. All of the hospitals, the hospital bills, the injuries, the government will have to say something about it and will not stop until they do say something about it. Our campaign in District 15 for this rerun will be impossible. We will not put our supporters at risk. I'm telling you that over 50 people have been hurt, injured. Who are we? Who are we to put all these people back in the street to say go and campaign? For what? To be representative? It's not that important. It may be so important for them to go and hurt people, but it will never be so important for us to put people in harm's way in the name of campaign, in the name of holding office, in the name of politics. These are the people that we say that we are fighting for. These are the same people that we say when we become representative, will be represented for everybody. God forbid Abu Kamara becomes represented in District 15. He will be represented for the same people that he's sending his thugs to hurt. We will not put our people in harm's way. So our complaint at NEC will be very clear. We will not campaign until we feel secure. We will not campaign until we find out who is protecting us. How are we protected? Only at that point will we know that it's possible for us to exercise our rights in this country and in this district. This District 15 elections that people are looking at so lightly is only the beginning. 2020, if we're not careful, if we do not set proper precedent, will be 100 times worse than this. And that is in 2020. I don't even want to talk about that one step. But 2020, we need to be very careful. We need to be extremely careful about this country and the direction that this country is going in. With this, although we're coming out with an official statement from the CPP in a few minutes, I want to also use this opportunity to personally beg the international community to save us. How are we to protect ourselves and the lives of our people? The EU, the ECOWAS, AU, UN, the United States. You're seeing everything that's happening. Please don't let lives be lost before you see the threats that we're faced with. The District 15 election has the propensity to create serious violence in this country. And when we get to that point, it will be difficult to control. So I want to ask the international community to step in and step in a very strong and firm way that represents people who have interest in this country. People who want to see this country move in the right direction. You have invested in this country. You have invested in the peace and stability of Liberia. We cannot let one group of people, in the name of saving face, to destroy what we have maintained for the past 18 years, I would say. Liberia is not for one group. It's for all of us. President Weah is not for one group. He's for all of us. Protecting the peace is paramount. Protecting the lives of our people should be number one on all of our agendas. We will not stand for violence in this country. Not our country. Not our Liberia. We've seen too much. We've been through too much. And one president that has not proven himself will not derail what we have all gained. A short message to the people of District 15. I want to assure the people of District 15 of my commitment to peace, my commitment to stability, my commitment to protecting the lives of everyone, including Seditians in District 15. Let's not forget that we are one. Let's not forget that when this district goes down, all of our lives go down. And when this district gets better, all of our lives will get better. Look at us today. People are laughing at us, wondering what's going on in that place. Are we barbarians? Are we hooligans? Are we thugs? Who are we? I want to ask all of you, hold on to peace. To my brothers and sisters in CDC, stop the violence. Stop the attacks. Do not be used by anybody. Anybody that loves you will not send you in harm's way. Anybody that loves their country, loves their people, wants to see our lives move forward, will never send you to attack another brother or sister. I'm not from Logan Town. I'm from Caldwell. And I'm proud to be from Caldwell. Caldwell is District 15. Nobody owns District 15. With this, I'll close and I'll say that we'll stand very firm against our aggressors. We'll stand very firm against the president of Liberia, against the justice minister, and against the police force. Nobody will intimidate us. We're bigger than the president. We are bigger than the minister of justice. We are the people that they serve. And in case they forgot it, I want to remind them today that your job is to protect us. And right now, we are unprotected. Thank you.
Okay, you just listened to that detailed account of what transpired in District 15 yesterday. At this juncture, we will call on the chairman of the Labour Party, who will provide a very short statement intimating the official position of the collaborating political parties on this same matter. Mr. Chairman.
If we were in a court, the narrative given by Telia Urey would consider her as our star witness. But we're not in a court, so she's a survivor after surviving an attempted murder. Ladies and gentlemen of the prize, fellow Liberians, we are thankful and grateful to God and all peace-loving Liberians who assisted in the rescue of our partisans from unprovoked attack in District 15 on yesterday. It was another bloody day in our country history yesterday. The blood of these victims cries out to Liberia and the war for actions with justice. Unfortunately, our government under the leadership of George Weah is the promoter of the violence against peaceful citizens whose only crime is to exercise their political franchise. The same process from which George Weah and his party has benefited from to become senator and now president of Liberia. Unfortunately, our country is being led by the most vindictive, divisive, and egoistic character whose sense of success is the building of monuments and statues of himself. Our president now promotes violence and chaos and took pride in being a leader of some and not all. On August 17, 2019, at the campaign meeting of the collaborating political party, being held at Telia's Urey office, was disrupted as a result of an attack on the headquarters by some supporters of Mr. Abu Kamara, candidate of the CDC. This attack occurred in the presence of the police, who sat idly and watched the attacker throwing stones on the headquarters while the meeting was ongoing. In fact, these attacks took place just a stone throw away from the Loking Town Police Depot. Later on the same day, at about 6 p.m., candidate Telia Urey, while in a meeting at Honorable Kevin Bayo residence, one of the contestants in the ongoing District 15 by-election, was attacked by seditionists and supporters of the CDC candidate, Mr. Abu Kamara. The building in which they were meeting was heavily vandalized. As a result of their violent actions, candidate Telia Urey sustained minor injury, as she narrated herself today. Mr. Momo Sambola, there he sits, you can look at him, vice chair of the All-Liberian Party, was also wounded, along with several other partisans and supporters of Honorable Telia Urey. The attack was a direct attempt on Kennedy Urey's life. This is why we refer to her as a survivor. In an attempt to evacuate Kennedy Urey, her vehicle was attacked and severely damaged by stone-throwing seditionists. Those of you on Facebook and social media, you've seen the direct evidence. These attacks were so prevalent that scores of our people were again wounded. And she narrated it to you. Unfortunately, this havoc against Urey, Telia Urey, and her supporter was perpetrated as armed personnel of the Liberian National Police stood by and did nothing, as it was in other cases, as she narrated to you. From the narrative of this event, it is clear that the police, which is charged with the statutory responsibility of providing security for all Liberians, conspired and was complicit in the events of yesterday, August 17, 2019. They stood by while attempts to commit murder were taking place under their watchful eyes. Our confidence in the police has eroded. We can recall that on June of 2019, President and Standing Bearer of the Coalition for Democratic Change, George Weah, announced publicly that no Delon or Urey will win elections in Liberia. He declared that this will not happen under his leadership. In fact, over his dead body, he went further to say that he will flog that little girl. The only logical inference that one can infer from the ongoing act of violence against Telia and supporters in District 15, given the sluggish and don't care attitude of the government, is the fact that all efforts are being exerted by the president and his CDC to ensure that his threat against the Urey are manifested. The results of the election prove George we are wrong in the collaboration of political party right. Liberian voters overwhelmingly for our candidates and sent a resounding caveat to Weah and his government that the years of 2020 and 2023 will offer them sweeping defeats. It is the shame and attempt to subvert the word of the majority that has led to the orchestration of violence to intimidate, threaten, harass peaceful citizens whose only crime is to peacefully assemble and exercise their political franchise. This is a clear case of electoral violence. Yesterday and previous days of violence provided irrefutable evidence of the president's mandate. President Weah has orchestrated, designed, promoted, and supported all the violence in these elections and previous elections. He must be held responsible for the tragic episodes and violence that continue to occur. A defying silence and complicity is echoing all across our country and the world at large. As president of the nation, with all apparatus of state under his control, the meaning of his statement and the signal that declaration sent out to his supporter and various agents of the state is to act against other citizens. It was a mandate to take the side with the president. The collaboration of political parties will not cower in fear to this wave of national terror being imposed by our president. We will resist it with peaceful actions. In the word of former U.S. First Lady, where they go low, we go high. Where they scoop low, we scoop high. We remain cognizant of the years of conflict our country and its people has endured, and we remain committed to providing an alternative leadership with peace and unity as our core values. We call on all citizens and our supporters to remain peaceful. Liberia is our common denominator, and we must not allow this president and his ruling party to take us back to the old days. We urge the National Election Commission and our partners who support the coordination of democracy to speak out now and bring international observers to observe this election due to the extent to which violence is being consumed and additive. We hope all relevant committee of the national legislature will call for a full inquiry and summon the relevant institutions, stroke agency of government to provide proper explanation for the action against peaceful citizens. We call on the international community to urgently investigate these acts of deliberate violence against peaceful citizens and bring all perpetrators to justice. We call on the International Criminal Court to take seize of this matter, conduct the proper investigation, and ensure peace and ensure justice for victims. We call on the Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights of the United Nations, the African Union, and the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to act with utmost urgency. Liberia is fastly descending into chaos, violence, and lawlessness, and no real Liberian wants this to happen again. Finally, the collaborating political party henceforth demand that an independent commission of inquiry to duly investigate this matter, have findings made public, provide guarantee for the security and safety of our citizens, especially our citizens who will go to turn out in District 15 to vote. We know that we are victorious, but the safety of our citizens is our priority. We do not intend to become victor or the blood and mixture of the Liberian people. This is what makes us different from the collaborating political parties. Today is Sunday. It is the last day. We urge all of us to pray for our country and the victim of the recent violence in District 15. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the press. At this point, we will entertain brief remarks from our political leaders. We'll start with Honorable Alexander Cummins, and then the chairperson of the standard bearers of the collaborating political parties, Mr. Urey, will make the final remarks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Let me just echo some of the sentiments that have been expressed, first by Telia and then by Chairman Zago of the Liberty Party. We are a responsible opposition up against an irresponsible government. We are a responsible opposition up against a responsible government. The people of District 15 have spoken. The people of District 15 have elected Telia Urey as representative. It is unacceptable for the President of the Republic of Liberia, the President of all of us, to declare that any citizen will not win election under his tenure. That is the utmost irresponsible remark of the leader of a democratic country. We will not stand idly by and accept those threats. We will be peaceful in our opposition to those threats. But he and his party should be assured that we will stand for our rights, our hard fought for rights. I want to take this opportunity to remind the Liberian people that the economic hardship is not by accident. They have a government that practices self-serving economics, a government that is looking after only themselves and not looking after the interests of the Liberian people. To put the daughter of any citizen of Liberia, to put any citizen of Liberia in harm's way for exercising their constitutional franchise is unacceptable from the leader of a free country. So I want the Liberian people to know that on behalf of my colleagues in the CPP, the collaborating political parties, on behalf of the Alternative National Congress, we stand shoulder to shoulder with Representative-elect Telia Urey, and we want our government to know we will not accept that irresponsibility. We will not be cowed. We will not roll over and play dead. And I want to echo the call to our international partners that again, we are going to be responsible in opposition, but many of you have invested time, treasure, and in the case of our regional brothers, blood, to secure the peace in Liberia. We ask for your help in making sure that peace is maintained. But we also want to assure you that we take responsibility for our country. We will make sure that in a peaceful manner, we ensure that our democratic rights are protected. I thank you, God bless you, and God bless the Republic of Liberia.
Members of the collaborating political parties, members of the Fourth Estate. I think I basically have to just thank all of you all for coming here today, because I sat in this chair here today and listened to Ms. Urey speaking and giving an account of events that had transpired over this electoral period. It was further overemphasized and giving additional warning and perspective by our able chairman of the Liberty Party, Sago. And nobody would have concluded it more or better than our chairman of the ANC, Alexander Cummings, the standard bearer of the ANC, Alexander Cummings. I could see the emotions in all of them. At times, I got concerned about emotions. Telia were almost in tears. The standard bearer of ANC got emotional, not to mention Steve Zagu, a lawyer. What has happened is unbelievable to all of us. But I'll tell you one thing, Liberians, in Liberia and abroad, I'm reminded by a philosopher, Robert Brent, and he says, whosoever mitigates the woe and increases the happiness of any individual is my greatest criteria of goodness. But whosoever injures society or any individual in society is my greatest measure of iniquity. My people, today I could be dead if my daughter would have died. I wouldn't have been able to live it up. My 4 girls is all I have. They're all I have. They're the reason I live. And I want to talk as a parent. Mr. Cummings spoke on behalf of the collaborating political party. I want to speak to the world and Liberia as a parent. Do you know what it is for your child to call you and tell you, Daddy, they're coming to kill us. Daddy, somebody's running behind me with a knife. Daddy, they will burn us alive. And you don't have the power to go and risk your life. Mothers of the world, not only Liberia, fathers of the world, not only Liberia, those of you all who love your children know what I went through. And to know that somebody I created was behind it. The pain is real. They're not going to force us to go down as low as they've gone to. You know, we're blessed. It's the prayer of all the mothers, fathers, and Liberians, and people in the world that has my little girl living today. A strong woman, a powerful woman, congratulate her as her father for being as strong as she was yesterday when I wasn't there to protect her. You know, all those, including the president, must remember they have children also. We should never go that low. We should never go that low. In other countries of the world, people don't go after people's children. It's a pride to see somebody's child moving up the ladder and fighting for their country. I want to use this public forum to tell Telia, the collaborating political parties, the ALP, the ANC, the Liberty Party, the Unity Party, we are proud of you and we stand with you. We want you to know that you have already won the elections in District 15. Want to tell the president? He said Dilla and a Urey cannot win. They already have won. They have already won. No matter what happens in District 15, the world knows we have won. And we will pray. Look, and I want the world to know, I don't hate Urey. Urey was like a little brother to me. Urey was a brother to Telia. It's painful to see what a brother would do to a little sister. But we will pray for him. And we hope that God would touch him and change him. Is that the same we are with you? We hope that he was changed and devote the remaining years he has to serving, to actually to deliver real service to his people. So we know we are. Stop fooling, or we know you, my man. All of these things must come to an end. The people of Liberia are suffering. They're hungry. They're sick. They're destitute. My God, our people are suffering. And to Liberians all around the world, your people are suffering. It's never been this bad. We've never seen this politics. We must pray for our country. What has happened to Telia, we forgive all of those that did it, caused it. But we insist that the law must take its course. People must give account of their actions. Finally, in closing, to all of you all here, the fourth estate, we must continue to work for our people. The biggest weapon in this world is the pen. Use it for your people. We must get out of where we are. We pray that this glorious land of liberty will always be ours, not for one group, but for all of us. And we must stand up for this country. To all our Liberians in the diaspora, it's time for you to stand up for Liberia. And let's work to make this country a better place for all of us. God bless you all.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the press. Unusually, we're not going to entertain questions today. All of the explanations provided a full detail of what happened in District 15 and the position of our parties. Thank you so much for coming. Please clear the corridor so that our political leaders can exit.
Hi, I'm Shalom Jawari. For the best in entertainment, I want you to lock down to KMTV. Yes, lock down to KMTV.